Sorry, I'll just go back a screen. Okay, so many of you are familiar with the Mowers and the Mower mission. Many of you have started with Tom's previous company, which was New Ways International. So Tom's previous company was sold in around 2006, and that's when SISEL was started, and it was co-founded by Tom Mower Jr. and Tom Mower Sr., the late Tom Mower Sr. And the company SISEL is Dynasty Trust secured. It's 100% debt-free, and there's 3 generations strong in the Mower family that's carrying this mission and continues on today. So if you've been with the Mower mission before, welcome home. And I'm sure you'll be as excited as I am to have the Mowers by our side and to continue on with the Mower mission. So my name is Katie. I'm a health and nutrition coach. I've been with SISEL since 2011, and it's been quite some time, and I'm really pleased that I'm here. I did start with New Ways in around 2000, and then when New Ways was sold in 2006, obviously I was sad, as many of you were, and I was wondering what happened to Tom, and did he start another company? And then in 2011, I discovered SISEL, and that's when I got started with SISEL. So my story started with my father. He was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at the age of 54, and I was looking for safe toxin-free products and looking at all the possible causes that could be contributing to his illness. And so I was looking for a toothpaste because I was concerned that he was swallowing the toothpaste, he couldn't spit it out, and someone had left a toxic guide at the gym, and I picked up that toxic guide and I gave the number a call, and then I guess the rest is history. I heard about Tom's company and the Mower mission, and I got started. So that's a little bit about SISEL and a bit of the background. So now we're going to be talking about this product tonight, which is Fucoydon. And I just want to also do a disclaimer that the products in this presentation are not intended to treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness. So please consult your healthcare provider if you have a medical condition. The statements in this presentation have not been evaluated by the FDA. So we've got a testimonial here on the screen. Since I started taking Fucoydon, I've noticed more mobility in my joints, more endurance, and less discomfort after riding my bike for long periods of time. I'm sleeping better, and I mentally feel stronger. I highly recommend this product for its regenerative properties. I love the fact that it is backed by significant science and research. And so that's what we're going to cover tonight. I've got 3 videos that I'll be sharing with you this evening that I'm very excited to share. One is a video of myself and Dr. Kurt, my sponsor. Dr. Kurt is located in Fargo. He lives in the US, and he is a wellness consultant and a doctor of chiropractic. He's been with SISEL about as long as I have. He knows the products inside out. He's also been involved in stem cell clinics and weight loss clinics as well. So he's very much very enthusiastic about the company and the products. And he also has a background in anti-aging as well. So we're really pleased to have him as part of the team. And so we're going to hear from him now. So let me just share this video.
All right. Well, welcome to the call, everyone. My name is Dr. Kurt Fisnick, and I have my friend Katie on the call here with me. We're going to do a quick recording on the powers of Fucoydon. It's just a wonderful product that the Mowers formulated a number of years ago, and it's something that I never miss. Every single day I take my dose of Fucoydon, and I think everybody else should too.
Absolutely. So as Dr. Kurt said, welcome to the call. So this is going to be a short recording, but I thought it's a really good topic to talk about Fucoydon because it's just such a powerful product and people get such great results with Fucoydon. And we have lots of fantastic testimonials. It's definitely a product I won't be without. Dr. Kurt, so I thought today we might be able to talk about the differences between our Fucoydon and other Fucoydons on the market and the sort of things that people might use it for as well.
You bet. Well, Katie, a lot of people probably aren't even aware of Fucoydon. They don't even know what it is. And so first, let's talk a little bit about what Fucoydon actually is. It's an extract that comes from the South Pacific a seaweed, a brown seaweed it's called. It grows deep in the ocean, and it's harvested much like we harvest grains and food up here in our part of the country. But they actually go down. They have divers that go down into the ocean. They harvest this seaweed, and then SISEL, the mowers, they buy it direct from these guys that harvest it, and they haul it all the way back to Utah, big blocks, and then they thaw it out and they run it through a special process, a process that the mowers invented. They've got hundreds of patents on this process and on the product itself, and they've figured out how to concentrate the extract so that it's a super concentrated extract. And then on top of it, they figured out how to make it even more powerful by making some of the molecules, the fructose molecules that are normally inactive. They figured out how to activate them so that they make the product. So I've heard that our product is somewhere like 3,000% stronger than the next best product on the market.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. So, and the Mowers bought a special machine, didn't they, for making Fucoydon?
You bet. They designed it. Tom Senior designed it and made it, and he has hundreds of patents on that. You bet.
Yeah, so it's just such a fantastic product. If people want to find out about Fucoydon, if they go to PubMed and type in Fucoidan, which is the active ingredient, SISEL's Fucoydon spelled Fucoydon. So spelling's obviously different, but if you go to PubMed and research that, you find there's over 2,800 articles on the topic. Kurt, do you want to talk about why that is?
You bet. Well, the scientists these days, they're always looking for something to help keep us safe. They're looking for ways to make us so that we can have a stronger immune system. So there's a lot of new science that's coming out on Fucoydon every single week. If you pop into PubMed and watch it like I do, you'll find new articles coming up all the time. So way back when the Mowers first came out with the Fucoydon formulation that we have, it was what was that, like 16 years ago? There was probably a few hundred publications. Now like Katie said, there's over 2,000 peer-reviewed published studies that you can find on it, ranging from studies that show that it can help with inflammation, studies that show that it can help out with getting rid of certain types of stage 4 situations without naming the name of the disease. But and we're not making a claim about our product. I'm just saying that there's studies showing that it can help out with those situations, that the molecule itself, and we have Fucoydon. So if you look at the study and it says Fucoydon can do this, you can obviously revert back and say, hey, I wonder if SISEL's product does that. And you think our product is 3,000% stronger than any of the other products on the market. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And, the product's really competitively priced too, isn't it, Kurt? Have you checked out the prices of the competitor products that really don't even compare as you've discussed with the point of difference with SISEL's product? But have you had a look at the pricing on the market?
I haven't recently. I started taking the SISEL product about 12 years ago, and I really haven't looked at any other products since then.
Well, somebody came to me yesterday and said that the equivalent is about $800 with another product. They said that, to have any benefit, you needed to be taking 30 tablets a day or something, and it was going to work out at $800 a month. And, it doesn't even come anywhere close to what SISEL's product is in terms of pricing. And SISEL have really good value when it comes to pricing this product. You can buy it in a single, in a 2-pack. You can even buy it in a 4-pack. And if you are in Australia and New Zealand, we've got great economy or low price shipping. That's not economy because it is FedEx, so it's express shipping, but it's at a low cost. So we're really lucky and fortunate to have that. And it's definitely something you want to have in your pantry, in your cupboard, or in your fridge, isn't it?
You bet. And it's not just something that helps out with humans. It also helps out with animals as well. My dog, my Chewy, he passed away a year ago, but you know, before he passed away, a couple of times, he had over the course of the last 15 years, he had gotten like a bladder infection, and I could put a little bit of Fucoydon in his water bowl, and it would take care of it, help him, so that it would boost the strength of his immune system. And that would allow him to fight that bladder infection off without having to go and get medication for it. And, you know, again, we can't make any medical claims. We can't say that, you know, it cured that. All we're saying is that it helped boost the strength of his own immune system so that he was able to fight it off.
Yeah, fantastic. And I've got a friend whose dog was in a bit of a grim situation, has got it on the Fucoydon, and it's still going along. So, you know, the product can make a big difference for humans and animals. And so, as Dr. Kurt said, we're not making any claims, and you should consult your healthcare provider, you know, before taking supplements or if you have any medical concerns. So I think that wraps it up for today.
You bet. I was just going to say, you know, when I'm, you know, because this is a network marketing company. So on the marketing side, I'm just going to say this, Katie, that, you know, when I'm doing marketing with this, I always tell people, I say, just pick one product. Take the Fucoid, take this one product and take it religiously every single day. Just take a single dose of it in the morning and do that for 90 days. If at the end of 90 days, you don't feel that it's making a difference in your life, just quit buying it. But if it does make a difference in you, you know, keep on taking it. And what I found is that the people that do that, almost every single one of them continues to take the product because they know that they can feel a noticeable difference in their health.
Yeah, fantastic. There you go.
Are calling the very first SISEL Live event on Facebook Live. What a cool opportunity it is for me and for you to be here with us today. Now, for those of you that have been in our plant before, I know that your brains were blown. I mean, your heads were blown when that happened. And for those of you that haven't been in the plant before, prepare to have your head blown, because this is an amazing opportunity to walk into one of the most diversified plants in the entire world as it relates to all things SISEL and what we produce here. So I'm excited today because we're going to talk about what is the #1 product in the world, around the world, in every market that we have in SISEL International. So we're going to find out a little bit about that today. I've got a great opportunity to grab Tom Maurer Jr. today and bring him in. It's a great chance for me to have him give you a little bit more information, if you will, a little bit more detail behind it, because his brain is so science-based. He's got so much knowledge and so much information to impart. So you guys are going to have a great opportunity to have a chance to just speak with him and learn a little bit about it. So let's go ahead and go in now and start talking about it. So I'm going to take you into the plant. Now, of course, we always have to be careful because this is a live operating plant. So as we go in, you're going to see forklifts go by, you're going to see people walking past. Well, let's go see if we can track down Tom Jr. and see if we can't get him out here into the plant. Now, of course, we start at the science lab. Has anybody seen Tom Jr.? Hey, Tom. I need to do this to you, but I'm wondering if I can have you come help me with some information. So we'll get Tom Jr. in here. He's, of course, working on formulas with our Chief Formulation Officer. Maybe you could drop the lab coat and we could walk out. But at any rate, folks, you're going to hear about a product that we have literally been researching and developing for the last number of years. You know, back in 1988, Tom Maurer Sr. was introduced to an ingredient that he was absolutely amazed by. His energy level, his ability to jump out of bed in the morning, the benefits of it. But the problem was it was so expensive that it was almost impossible for the average person to be able to consume. So when we think about that ingredient for about, what now, almost 30 years, Tom Maurer Sr. has literally been going around the world trying to find this ingredient to give it to the average person for about $50 a month. The issue that he ran into was that it was about $300 or $400 a month for the average person to consume. Well, who can afford that? So Tom Sr. said, I'm going to come up with a way to be able to help people have this ingredient in their lives at a dose that will actually help them biologically and give them what they need. So Tom, I'm glad you joined me today because we're going to walk in to where it all begins, which is the spray dryer.
Well, Aaron, you're right. The first thing was more like a scene off of CSI. It was a mystery. What was this ingredient? We had texts from thousands of years ago going back to China. What is it? Because they had the study, they had the old names for it, we had to identify it. So we spent about a 10-year process going through to identify what it was. Once we found out what it was, then we had to go and find modern science to validate what it was doing. But what we did know, the proof of the eating was in the pudding, as Tom always talks about, and it was dynamic. And so once we figured out what this was, we found out that to have it done, or where it was done, it was $300, $400, $500 a month for someone to consume. So you had less than 1% of the people who wanted to consume it, who could consume it. Well, once we got into the research, we found out, like everything, when we built this facility, as you know, we've done a lot of contract manufacturing, and two things happen. The road splits when you get into contract manufacturing. You have a very small handful of people who are looking for efficacious products like SISEL, and you're looking for the major retailers who want price and label and what's being said on television. And so with that in mind, what our mission has always been is we want the most efficacious products where people can get a biological response. What you see here is part of that response. Maybe it's an emotional reaction, but the nice thing about it worked.
And it was about, if I remember correctly, about a $3 or $3.5 million line that had to be built and set up in this portion of the facility in order to produce this product that we're able to bring to our distributors and customers.
And you're exactly right. We're not talking about the millions prior to, in years of dedication of research and trips to China and talking to scientists. Once we figured out this missing code and what these ingredients were and how to process them, then at that point it was only a $3.5 million investment.
Yeah. And that was before we had a distributor or a customer or anybody to consume it, but that was the investment that you and your father made in order to say, we know the value of this ingredient.
But we knew it would work because it worked.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't like, do we invest $3.5 million? We knew it worked.
Yeah,
we just had to make it unique, the most effective, and that's why we have this product and this process patented. Nobody in the world has what we have. So to go out there and say, we're the only one with the secretariat in the Kentucky Derby, who would pay for that? Anybody pay $3.5 million. And that's really what we had. So what you see here is only a piece of the puzzle to make a patented product that gives you the biological and the physical effects that you're looking for. I won't get into all of the science today, but what we did in a nutshell, we found out that it was not just the seaweed. It was a component of the seaweed. Seaweed itself only has about 3% solids in it. So the rest just goes up into the air. And that's what you see here. To get to our patented process, we have to condense it down. Besides going through over 40 different genuses to find which one has the most varied types of Fucoydon molecules, we have to go through and make sure we have the smallest sizes and the most varied. And so we reduce it in here in the spray dryer. And so if you look at these little yellow heads right here, once we've gone through the other rooms, which we won't go through today, we process it from these large 75-pound blocks of, they look like ice, frozen. We actually start from the very beginning. We hire people to swim to the bottom of the ocean. If you think about the pearl divers, well, these are seaweed divers, and they clip it off and they bring it up, and then they immediately flash freeze it for us. Then they bring it over, and so it's quite expensive to bring over these containers of frozen seaweed and then store them here.
So let me ask you a question real quick on that note. Why Tonga?
Well, for obvious reasons. It has the right genus that we like because it has the most types of Fucoydons that science has validated that have beneficial effects for us. Plus, we're looking for the most pristine environment that we can get because we know the sea is full of toxins. And this area has the genus and has the environment that is conducive to making a product that fits the bill for the Mauer mission.
And far off shipping lanes and everything else. So it's a little bit off the beaten path, right?
From a business standpoint, it's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
And there's no infrastructure there. And I don't even have McDonald's there. But
I think they do now.
They probably do.
But so at any rate, so we bring the blocks in, we put them in the pulverizer, it literally just breaks down all that material and sends them in here, why does it have to go into the spray dryer?
Well, because number one, nobody's going to do what we need done to our product. So we built this specifically. This started out as a basic spray dryer, and then we have gone through and we've added this huge pump right here. In fact, Aaron, if you'll blow on this hose right here, okay, that won't work because we need about 20,000 psi when we have these molecules that we have pulverized to come through in those small yellow heads that you see on the side. We have to mist it out. And then with low, I mean high, but low temperature, not to destroy anything, we mist it in this huge chamber that you see right here. And what happens is it evaporates, 97% of it just goes off as moisture.
Yeah.
Then we concentrate the solids. In fact, if you're in here, you're going to think you're going on the SISEL cruise because every now and then you'll hear a huge foghorn go off inside here. And it's the vibration from that sound that actually makes the dust that's accumulated on the sides fall off to the bottom, where we can scrape them over to an auger and place them in a barrel as the solid form of the Fucoydon molecule that we're looking for. But that's only step 2. We've harvested it, we've shipped it here, we've got to that point. From that point, we go through our patented process of hydrolyzation and adding sulfate to it to make the molecules smaller, adding sulfur to it to make them much more effective.
Well, and that efficacious process is part of the patented process that we talk about. So when, Tom, you talk about the fact that nobody can have what we have, nobody can produce what we have, we've got our patents on the production process from the start to the finish of what we consider to be the product of all products. Now, the great thing is that when we look at the spray dryer, again, like you said, that's just one of the parts of the process.
Yeah.
Then it has to go through the process of getting into the plant and going through what we consider to be the batching and the filling and the blending and all of the other things, which is why you and your father have built this amazing facility, 400,000 square feet, manufacturing, probably what I would say is one of the diverse.
It is the most diverse in the western side of America. West of the Mississippi, nobody does encapsulation and powdered mill replacements and sachets and liquid sachets, hot beverage filling, personal care, shampoos, lotions, and the list goes on.
Cafe?
Why not? We have a roaster. We can do all these things. Everything was designed with one thing in mind, and that is to promote and to supply the Mauer mission, which is SISEL. It's embodied in SISEL. And so we know we have the winning lottery number. And we knew we had it with Fucoydon, and that's why it is the #1 product we have in SISEL and will continue.
Yeah.
But the key point was to make it affordable for people. People can't spend $400 a month, but can they spend 50 to 70? Absolutely. Especially when you see the benefits, and if you get on PubMed and you look at what scientists are doing, they are truly amazed. And so more and more money goes into research. But it all started with a trip to China, looking at texts that were thousands of years old. And one thing about the Chinese, they had their own version of testing, and they tested things on thousands of people and documented what the results were. With that in mind, and then trying these unique formulations, we've invested millions of dollars over the years, and guess what? We haven't been wrong. As it goes around the world, people are seeing the results.
Well, they are. And you know what? The one thing that I will tell you, folks, is that when you think about this ingredient base itself and the formulation that they've created, one of the things that I love about the manufacturing facility, and I remember when I first met you and your father, is that you said, I don't want anybody touching my products from the time the ingredients land on our docks until the time it actually lands on your doorstep. It's our product. It's SISEL manufactured product. And one of the things that goes into that is that when we look at this incredible formulation itself, we know that they've controlled it from the time it leaves Tonga until the time it hits your doorstep. Nobody can have something like this. The support that it has, the functional support that it has in terms of so many different levels, anti-inflammatory, stem cell signaling, cellular regeneration, boosting the immune system by 400% in only maybe 7 days. Can you imagine what that can do for the human body in terms of a support beverage that literally is formulated right here in SISEL International? So from that standpoint, I absolutely love it. I love being a part of this mission. I love the fact that we have so many great products that, like you said, deal with the Mauer mission, deal with everything that we consider to be safe for the body, safe for the environment, safe for our families, you know, safe for those people. You see so many issues right now with Johnson & Johnson and other people that are having so many problems. What a great opportunity it is for us to scream from the rooftops that we have the products that they can rely on. When it says SISEL on it, you can trust the science, you can trust SISEL. So from that standpoint, Tom, thanks for popping out in the lab.
I'm going to go back in there and get back to work because we're working on the next types of Fucoydon and dynamic products. Thank you
So
so much.
folks, here's the product. Let me grab it. We've got the Fucoydon product right here. You can get it out of your back office. You can, of course, get it from a distributor. As a customer, you can go online, SISEL International.
It's quite a marvelous extract. It comes from a seaweed out of Tongan, and it's heavily researched. If you go, this isn't one of these ingredients from an exotic island country that perhaps you haven't heard about it, but neither has science, and so there's not much research. Or if science has looked at it, there's very little research because they realize it just doesn't have the properties that's worth spending the money on to see what it really does. That's not the case with Fucoydon. It has a massive amount of research, and if you go onto PubMed, you would find really quick that there's about 800 different studies from countries all over the world testing Fucoydon for a wide variety of conditions because it supports so many of the body's biological systems. One of the most important is the immune system. It gives it massive support for the immune system and the anti-inflammatory system. Now the immune system, of course, we know what that does. It fights all of the diseases and things we have, but we don't even realize that the real damage comes from when you get sick or when you have a disease, generally from the inflammation that happens because of it. So if we can control inflammation and we can bring our immune system up, then we'll have a great defense against the processes that damage health and that age it. Well, the studies are showing that the Fucoydon ingredients, not our product, Fucoydon of course, the ingredients we use in it have been tested, but our formula itself has not been. But we're taking the data from these clinical studies and putting a super formulation together to offer a person the possibility of having the powerful effects that Fucoydon offers. And we believe that people will see a self-evident change with it, especially over a period of time. So if we support the immune system, we support the anti-inflammatory system, we find that Fucoydon has a lot more power than that. In fact, one of the leading researchers in America has said never has he seen one ingredient that does more things to more parts of the human body than Fucoydon. And you know, I have to agree with him because it supports so many different systems, heart, liver, lung, brain, muscle, organs, growth factors of all kinds. And so with this kind of support, these systems are trying to work, but they need the nutrition that they can run on. In other words, you have to run a car on gasoline, you have to have oil to make the engine move. And it's the same with Fucoydon. You have the biological systems in place, but they get so damaged over a lifetime, and our natural systems are deteriorating with age, that by bringing in a super supplement so these systems can operate at a more optimum level could be very profound in not only making you live longer, but giving you a great increase in health and energy. In fact, there's some studies that show you have a 400% immunity in only 12 days because Fucoydon supports the immune system that's already functioning so masterfully. So here's a product with Fucoydon that's touching we think most everything within your body to help it to fortify it so that it can function the way it's supposed to be. So it's massive support for the human biology throughout the entire body, from the tip of your toes to the top of your head. Fucoydon could be everywhere and working like no other product in the world.
Okay, great. That concludes tonight's presentation. Hopefully you enjoyed that. That video is slightly older. The packaging has changed, same product, but the information is still relevant. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. Great content, and hope you're excited to share it with others. And thanks for getting on tonight, and have a great evening.